5 seasons and 42 episodes of Stranger Things gave us an unforgettable journey through Hawkins and the Upside Down. But it wasn't as smooth and perfect as you might think. In this video you will find out which biggest mistakes were left inside the show and how easily you could miss them. From broken timelines, forgotten characters, and ridiculous errors. In the next few minutes you'll discover every moment when Stranger Things messed up its own rules and storyline. Let's begin with the error that happens in the very first season of the show, and you definitely didn't notice it. In the first season when we meet the Byers family, they have a dog named Chester. He appears a few times in the early episodes laying at the shed, wandering around the house and reacting nervously to the strange events during Will's disappearance. He feels like a real part of the family, just like Jonathan, Will, and Joyce. But here's the strange part. After season 1, Chester disappears completely. The dog is never seen again, never mentioned, and there's no explanation for what happened. By seasons 2, 3, and for the Byers house has no dog at all, as if Chester never existed. The show never says whether the dog passed away, moved to another family, or ran away. Even after Will returns, there's no sign he remembers the dog. So what do you think happened to Chester? Share your theory in the comments, and let's take a look at the next continuity errors that many still don't realize. In season 2, Will was possessed by the Mind Flayer many times, and each time it happened, it became harder to tell if it was really Will or the Mind Flayer pretending to be him. And here is where the next mistake slipped by you. Just take a look at this. Will's eyes are normally hazel, but after he becomes possessed, his eyes turn brown. You can see this clearly in season 2 episode 8 during the shed scene. When Will is tied to the chair and everyone interrogates him, his eyes are completely dark brown. This hints that eye color can show right away if a person is under the Mind Flayer's control. But things changed in season 3. When the Mind Flayer returns and starts possessing more people in Hawkins, their eye color doesn't change at all. And you clearly see this with Billy, whose eyes remain blue before and after he is possessed. This removes the clear visual clue we had in season 2, making it much harder to tell who is possessed this time. Could it be that the Mind Flayer's powers evolved, or is it just another small error made by the directors of the show? Comment below what do you think, and get ready for the next missed detail. In season 2, while Will's mind is controlled by the Mind Flayer, his mom Joyce tries to talk to him by reminding him of his past. That's when she mentions that March 22nd is the most important date for her because it's Will's birthday. But this wasn't true anymore in the next seasons. Fast forward to season 4 episode 2. We see that Mike has just arrived in California to spend his summer break with Eleven and Will. During the roller skating scene, bullies are recording Eleven being pushed. If you look closely at the camera's date stamp, it's March 22nd, 1986. That's the exact same date as Will's birthday. And here's the strange part. Will's birthday seems completely forgotten. No one in the family, no classmates, and not even his best friend Mike remembered it. There's no celebration, no mention, and barely any interaction with Will. Considering how important his birthday is, this really looks like a clear mistake in the show. If you're watching this video on March 22nd, make sure to wish Will Byers a happy birthday. But now let's move to the next big error that was left in the show. In season 1 episode 7, when Mike and the others are trying to locate Barbara and Will, they realize that Eleven can find them if she gets inside the bathtub. Since they have no idea how to build one, they call Mr. Clark for help. At that moment he seems clearly disturbed because based on his words it is 10 p.m. on Saturday. But here's the interesting part. Fast forward to episode 8, long after the bath is set up, the intense fight against Dr. Brenner, the battle with the Demogorgon, and all the chaos with Eleven using her powers. Right after Eleven pushes the Demogorgon into the wall. If you look closely, the clock is still showing 10 p.m. just a few minutes later. Logically, there's no way something that should have taken hours happened in under 5 minutes. Based on the events, it would take at least 2 hours. The clock showing that time doesn't make sense, and it's clearly a timeline error in the season. So now you know that small continuity errors happen quite often in the show, but if those errors didn't surprise you, just wait for the next one that most of us would never notice. In season 3, when Dustin, Steve, and Robin try to enter the Russians' secret base near Starcourt Mall, they can't get through the air ducts because they're too big. Suddenly Erica shows up asking for a free ice cream sample. Robin gets an idea and quickly convinces her to sneak inside. For now everything looks logical, but wait until you hear what's next. Because Erica is small, she manages to get inside the room unnoticed. She then opens the gate without needing a passcode, just by pressing a simple button labeled open door. But here's where it gets strange. After everyone is inside and exploring the room trying to figure out what the Russians are up to, they can't get out. Now the door requires a passkey and suddenly won't open for for anyone, even after pressing the same button multiple times. It's strange how Erica had no problem opening it, but now they can't get out even though it's the same button and door. Okay, let's imagine that here the doors were suddenly blocked. But how can we explain the next mistake? In Season 1 Episode 6, we see a flashback to 1983, where 11 accidentally opens a gate at Hawkins' lab to the Upside Down and the Demogorgon comes through. The show presents this as the first ever gate opening, but it's actually not. In Season 4, a flashback to 1979 shows a younger 11 fighting Henry Creel. During the fight, she creates a gate and throws him into the Upside Down, where he transforms into Vecna. But here is the strange part. If the first gate was actually opened in 1979, 4 years before the events of Season 1, why did nothing happen during all this time? The show never explains why the Demogorgon from Season 1 waited so long to come through the gate. Could the writers have overlooked this gap? Maybe Season 5 will finally give us the answer, but be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. But it really feels like keeping the numbers and dates in Stranger Things consistent has become a real challenge. At the beginning of Season 2 Episode 3, 11 is angry at Hopper for lying about when she'll get to see Mike. She specifically says it's day 326 since the day Hopper promised that 11 would meet Mike soon. Let's assume that she began counting from the moment she officially started living in Hopper's cabin. But here's where it gets tricky. That scene happens the day after Halloween, and if you do the math, 326 days before November 1st, 1984 would be December 11th, 1983. That doesn't line up with what we see in the flashbacks. In Season 1 Episode 8, we see how Hopper is still dropping off Eggs on Christmas Eve, December 25th, 1983, and 11 only officially starts living with him after that. So her count of 326 days doesn't match the real timeline in the show, and it is off by at least 14 days from what it should be. But if this detail doesn't surprise you, just wait for what's coming next. Let's go back to the first episode of Season 1. There is a scene where Dustin gets annoyed with Nancy after she's ignoring his offer of the last slice of pizza. He complains to Mike, Lucas, and Will and says there's something wrong with Nancy, and they all respond that she's always been this way. But here's something strange. Dustin suddenly says that she used to be cool when dressed up as an elf for their Elder Tree campaign. Then Mike responds that it was 4 years ago. That's where the show made another mistake. Later in the season, it's revealed that Dustin didn't move to Hawkins until 4th grade. If in Season 1 all the kids are in 7th grade, that means Dustin has only been in Hawkins for about 3 years and not 4. So how could he remember participating in a local campaign 4 years ago, before he even lived in the town? Be sure to share your thought in the comments. And let's take a look at the next mistake that many still don't realize. At the end of Season 2, the kids finally get a moment of peace at the school's winter dance, the Snowball. The decorations are bright and colorful, with glowing lights and balloons. But here's where it gets strange. Right after the dance, the camera cuts to the Upside Down, giving us a chilling mirror of the same school. If you look closely, the snowball decorations are already there, hanging in the Upside Down version of the gym. It seems normal at first, but here's the odd part. Later in Season 4, we learn that the Upside Down is supposed to be frozen in time, stuck on the night will disappeared, which is November 6, 1983. If the snowball happened in December 1984, the Upside Down shouldn't reflect temporary real-world changes like the school dance decorations. But the mistakes don't stop there. In Season 4 Episode 8, Joyce and the others are stuck in Russia because they don't have a plane to back. Then she tries to contact Dr. Owens, thinking that he could help them. They need to reach a United States consulate, and Joyce reads his number aloud. The number is 775-3053 for 50. It seems normal, but it actually isn't. The phone number Joyce reads aloud has a 775 area code, but in 1986 the 775 area code didn't exist at all. Back then the entire state of Nevada was still covered by the 700 area code, so any number starting with 775 would have been impossible to use. The 775 code wasn't officially created until December 12, 1998, which is more than a decade later. This means that the phone number Joyce reads aloud technically couldn't exist in that era. There is one more big mistake that almost everyone missed, but let's make it fun. Pause the video and guess in the comments what the next detail might be. And be sure you watch till the end to see if you're right. In the very first season, we learned that the Demogorgon is strongly attracted to blood, almost like a shark. For example, in Episode 2, Barb accidentally cuts her hand, and the smell of her blood attracts the monster to Steve's pool and leads to her death. But that's not all. Later in Episode 8, Nancy and Jonathan even use their own blood to lure the Demogorgon into a trap. It's proving that blood is a consistent trigger for these creatures. But here's where things get strange. In the later seasons, this rule seems to disappear. Characters still get injured and bleed, but the Demogorgons and Demodogs no longer react in the same predictable way. Instead of being attracted to blood, their attacks become more random, and they seem far more focused on sound or movement. This change in behavior is never explained and creates an inconsistency in how the monsters hunt, making it harder to predict their actions. Believe it or not, these aren't even all the continuity errors the show is hiding. There are still plenty of mysteries and errors that might be answered in Season 5 or might be forgotten forever. Share in the comments which mistake did you notice in the show that wasn't highlighted in this video, and which of the existed ones surprised you the most. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are still many secrets we will uncover, so be sure to click and watch next video.